Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my son to live with me and my family? I believe that I will be a bit bitter in this post, and I apologize in advance, but this whole situation is getting on my nerves. I, 36 male, had a son, 18 male, when I was very young. It was a complicated situation. I broke up with my girlfriend, and in less than a month, she came to me with a pregnancy test. At the time, I had moved to another city because of college, and she did not want me to have contact with my son. The laws of the time were not very favorable to male parents, but I was forced to pay a pension for his creation. Nothing but fair. When he was 8 years old, I got the right to see my son in court. I'll call him Jay. And every month, I traveled to his city to visit him and try to create a good relationship, while trying to keep in touch over the phone too, but he always ignored me. For a while, I thought it was all the mother's fault, but even older, he didn't answer my calls. He always made excuses not to see me. Often I went to his city and he made a last-minute appointment, making me stay alone in the city. And not even on my birthday or Father's Day, Jay called me. What I mean is, I tried everything. But today my son looks more like a child in need of money, pension, than really a son. Well, today I'm married and I have 2 daughters, 8 female and 5 female. I have a dual nationality. I am an American raised in another country, where I am now. Born in America, but I came to this country at the age of 8. My family has a company in the USA and I work on a branch of it here. But at the end of the year, I will move in with my family to take seat in the company headquarters. I told Jay about everything, that I will move, that the pension will continue to arrive, and that I won't be able to visit him so often. Everything was okay until his mother calls me saying that I am supposed to take him with me to the USA. The economy of this country is broken. Unemployment is everywhere, and for these reasons, Jay's mother said that I should take him with me because in the USA, Jay would have more opportunities. I'm nervous. Jay never cared about me. He treated me only as a source of income. And now he wants to live with me to have better opportunities. I mean, he wants to go with me not because I'm his dad, but because I can help his future. I honestly have countless reasons in my head for not wanting this, especially the fact that he despises my wife and daughters. Every time I try to approach them, but in a way my head keeps hammering that Jay is my son, and I should take care of his future too. He doesn't even know English, his decision, so it wouldn't even be possible to put him in college, and he would be totally dependent on me for a while. My son is not experiencing any difficulties. His mother has a stable job, and I have a good source of income. But I know he will have a harder time finding a good job here than in the USA. But I still don't want him to come and live with us. Am I the a-hole? Edit. By law, every child is required to have the name of the father and mother in the identity, and I sincerely believe that this is why I learned about the pregnancy. Because of the whole issue of breastfeeding and etc., the priority of custody is the mother's. But my wish was to have 50% custody of my son when he was weaned. In this case, according to the law, at the age of 2. But my ex, she claimed that I was aggressive and that she did not want to contact me. So even after my son was 2 years old, I did not get shared custody. Because of all the women's protection laws and all the flaws in the country's justice system, I was only able to have my case tried in court, almost 3 years later, and even without evidence that I was someone dangerous to the child. My request for custody was denied 3 times. Only when my son turned 8. It has nothing to do with age, it was just the time. Did I get access to him? And yet I could only find him once every 15 days. Only after he turned 16 did I gain the right to have access to him, despite having to have some distance from his mother more times. But at this point, I was already settled in another city, married and with 2 daughters. What I mean is, it was not for want of trying that I didn't have access to him. And I'm pretty sure he must have a sense that it's not me who didn't want time for him, but his God wouldn't let. You're not the a-hole OP. You're a good father who has been providing for Jay since you knew of his existence. You've also made attempts to form a relationship, but unfortunately, he hasn't shown any signs of wanting one with you. That being said, if you feel that he would benefit from moving in with you and living in the US, I would suggest taking him, but maybe not right away. Enroll him in English courses before to see how serious he is about moving. You will also need your wife's input on this because this has to be a joint decision. Ultimately, if you both feel another adult male in the house is doable, and if your son can respect your wife and not be mean to your daughters, if Jay doesn't show any interest in learning English, then just don't bother with him. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. If I had 2 little girls, I would not invite an adult sibling into their home who openly despises them. I would decline. I would say you will invite him to visit once you are settled. But it's not possible for him to live with you. Of course, if during this visit he amazes you with his kindness to your wife and children, and with how much English he has learned, you might reconsider. I wouldn't raise this as a possibility though. No a-holes here, but you have to understand he's probably been fed a line of BS about your involvement by mom, and that him not seeing you till he was 8 means you did miss out on the primary bonding years. Not your fault, but absolutely not his. I would tell him if he learns English, you will sponsor him while he goes to college and tries to get citizenship. Something like that. I wouldn't bring him with you off the bat. Not the a-hole, as I think you're trying to protect your minor children from emotional harm while also considering that your adult child's behavior. Obviously, the dynamic with your son is difficult. Would it be possible to talk to him about the specific barriers that concern you? Ask him how he imagines his life in America would work if he doesn't speak the language. Also ask him if he thinks he would be happy coexisting in the same household with a stepmother and half-siblings that he hates. Rather than telling him what you think would go wrong, ask him how he thinks it could go wrong. This Socratic method has proven to be a fairly effective way of communicating and collaborating with teens and young adults. It makes them feel more heard and gives you the opportunity to work together to find a solution. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for refusing to accept my parents' apology? This is a throwaway account for various reasons. I'm a long-time lurker, but I've never made a Reddit post before. And I'm not very confident with my English, so I apologize for any mistake I might make. I, 24 female, am from an Asian country and a Muslim family. The incident happened around 5 years ago when I was a 19-year-old university student. Thanks to Reddit and Twitter, I'm aware that it's very common in America for students to work while they're still in school and move out after university. However, it's seen as the parents' responsibility to support their children throughout school here, and it's expected for people to live with their parents until they get married, even after they get married. My university was in a different city, so I was living in an apartment with a close friend. I was trying to visit my parents at least once a month. It was another regular visit when I woke up to my mom screaming at me. Turns out she was cleaning our room. Me and my sister, 21 female, shared a room. While I was asleep and she found the package of a condom in the trash bin. Things got crazy from there. My mom was screaming at me for being a hoe, and I was trying to explain that I had no idea where that came from and I was still a virgin. I was shocked and scared because it's the biggest taboo around here and there are many people, well, many girls, killed for not being a virgin. I knew my parents were not that kind of people, but it was still a taboo. The argument got bigger, louder, and eventually my dad, who was asleep, woke up to the sound. It was a big mess, and I can't remember every detail, but long story short, I got kicked out from the house. They blocked me on every possible social media, got rid of my stuff, stopped financially supporting me, and then never called me again. I was devastated, for so many reasons at once. I know it doesn't sound that way, but we were very close with my family. It wasn't the perfect family, but it was a happy one. And suddenly being kicked out for such a small reason broke me entirely. I was also a student trying to major at 2 things at once, meaning I didn't have time for anything. let alone a job. I was severely depressed for a very long time, but I somehow managed to graduate university and found a job to support myself. I'm now 24 and living alone. Fast forward to a week ago, my sister finally graduated university and decided that it was time to confess to my parents that the condom was hers, not mine. I don't know how angry my parents were, but she still lives with them, so... After hearing this, they immediately contacted me to forgive me and apologize themselves. They told me to come back home. I obviously refused and blocked their numbers. It felt like the right thing at the moment. I didn't think so at first, but everyone around me, some friends, a coworker and sister, is calling me an a-hole for refusing their heartfelt apology. I need some unbiased opinions. Am I the a-hole here? You're so not the a-hole, OP. Your parents betrayed and failed you. They've got some nerve forgiving you for being falsely accused by them. And your sister who let you take the fall has no business trying to tell you what your obligations are after everything she did. If you want to give them a chance to reconnect and make amends for your own sake, or if you choose to re-establish a limited relationship but not live with them, that is also alright. It's alright to choose to never see or speak to them again after what they did. Your obligations to them ended when they kicked you out of the house and left you on your own without even hearing you out one bit. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. They were ruthless with you and refused to hear your side of the story when it mattered most. Now it's convenient for them. They want to open their doors and play happy family, get stuffed. They have shown themselves capable of wounding you deeply, and I see nothing to suggest they have learned anything. Protect yourself and F them off. Not the a-hole. They offered to forgive you. Forget that noise. You are the innocent who was wrongly accused and punished. They should be on their knees begging you for your forgiveness. As for your sister, I can understand her keeping quiet at 16. But how bloody dare she call you the a-hole for not accepting your parents' non-apology? She wants you to accept their apology to appease her own guilt over your punishment and her silence at the time, not for your own good. So personally, I would say, sod the lot of them. They don't deserve you. Wow, not the a-hole. They said they would forgive you? That's just incredible. Everyone who says you're an a-hole for refusing their apology are all wrong. Forgiveness belongs to the person who was hurt, not the ones who did the hurting. Your parents hurt you breathtakingly, no matter how heartfelt their apology. They can't erase the humiliation, the hurt, the confusion and betrayal, or the years of unhappiness and struggle that resulted from their cruelty. It was truly cruel. As the wounded person, you and you alone get to decide when or if you choose to forgive, and you do not owe them forgiveness. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for putting my foot down with my husband and sister-in-law? I'm 26 female, he's 28 male, and his sister is 36 female. Now, I do want to note that I actually really enjoy helping people out in any way I can. It makes me feel accomplished for whatever reason or like I'm doing a good deed. My sister-in-law took advantage of my kindness and drove it into the ground. So basically, since I married my husband and we moved back to the States, my sister-in-law almost acts like she expects things from me. She doesn't ask us to do anything but rather calls and tells us what we need to do for her. Her most recent need is for us to take her daughter for a week because she can't handle life. After her cat got ran over a month ago. This was after she told me she needed our help paying for an urn for her cat, as well as the cremation. We didn't help her out with that one. Just to put things into perspective here, she has asked me for thousands of dollars within the course of 4 years to pay off her car back payments, pay taxes, get a new set of tires, groceries, new appliances, etc. She has asked to put things in my name because I have good credit and she does not. She has made me learn her yard for my birthday party that she wants to throw me, which turned out to be a Father's Day party and not a birthday party, and I happened to be conned into buying all the food. She randomly asks me to watch her kid all the time despite knowing I work full-time and have kids of my own to worry about. If I tell her no to any of these things, she instantly calls up the rest of the family and says, I don't know what's going on with Victoria lately. She's been acting really off. Anyways, after she told me to take her kid for a week, I said no. The following day, we had to go there to pick up our canoe that was stored in her garage, and she said, since I stored this for you, I think you guys owe me. I flipped out. I was already at my breaking point, and hearing her say this ticked me off. I said, I don't owe you anything. I have given you thousands of dollars that you have never paid back. I have washed your kid multiple times for free. I have given you rides and paid for your groceries, and what have you given me in return? That's right, a place to store our canoe. If anything, you owe us. My husband told me to calm down, so I looked at him and said, really? Me? Calm down? Because I'm pissed that people keep using us? Go ahead and keep enabling this behavior and see how quickly it pushes me away. I walked out, got into my car and left. My husband and I have talked about this multiple times, and he has told me to say something to her, but when I do, he tells me to calm down. I have since gotten a text from sister-in-law telling me that I overreacted and offended her, and that my behavior makes her think I'm an a-hole. My husband has apologized to me. Am I the a-hole?